Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadidamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Namaste and welcome. I'm Alexandra Savithri of the Vedic Healing Center and the American Reiki Academy. I am a Reiki master of the past 33 years and a Vedic healing master for the past 25 years. I'm also a feng shui teacher and a spiritual life coach. In this show, we cover topics related to metaphysics, Reiki, Vedic healing, and feng shui based upon my studies and practice in these disciplines. The aim of these shows is to help you create a successful spiritual practice that enhances your happiness, well-being, success, and productivity in the world so that you may become the best version of you. So, welcome to this episode, and today I am going to speak finally about Reiki. I say finally because I've posted some other episodes and those have been centered around your daily spiritual practice called sadhana. I've done some episodes on mantra practice, the chanting of Sanskrit mantras, which are sacred sounds, sacred vibrational energies. And it is time to speak about Reiki. Several people have emailed me and asked me to speak about Reiki, and it was actually the first thing I learned on my path, and it continues to influence me. So the title of today's podcast is, What is Reiki? And 5 ways Reiki can help you. As many of you may know, Reiki is a hands-on healing modality. Many people refer to it as a method from Japan. It was rediscovered in Japan in the 1800s, but there are traces of Reiki going back to ancient Tibet and to India. This, by the way, is going to be the first of several podcasts on Reiki. So this is just an introductory episode about this healing modality, and we'll get into it in more detail. So please reach out to me as we move forward with these podcasts, and you can email me if you go to the website, which is reikiacademy.org, REIKI academy.org, and just put your email address in and any topics you'd like to hear or any questions or concerns about your spiritual practice, and I'll certainly try to help you. So today, let me tell you a little bit about my background very briefly, because I want to get into the ways in which Reiki can help you. I was in graduate school in my 20s, and I was studying English literature. By day, I was reading and heavily studying all sorts of literature, from classics, Wordsworth, Shakespeare, Thomas Hardy, Emily Bronte, Tennyson, Emerson. I mean, any of the classics you can think of, I was immersed in reading those. Poetry, plays, novels, nonfiction, as well as more modern literature as well. And I would spend many, many hours by myself, as most graduate students do, in the library, at a little desk. They called them carrels at the time. I don't know if they still use that term, but a carrel is basically a single desk, and it is a little bit enclosed, like partially enclosed. So you're in this little cocoon in order for you to really concentrate. So we would have our favorite carols, in different parts of the library. And I had my favorite area I would go and study. And it was a little bit more peaceful and remote. Whenever I study, I need to have outside distraction calm down. So I need a peaceful space. I'm not good at reading with noise in the background, television or anything like that. And this is one way actually my spiritual path has helped me in my practice of meditation, and chanting has helped me because you do get to the level where you can tune out outside distraction, which is wonderful. But even to this day, if I'm heavily studying something, I need quiet. And libraries are so peaceful. It's almost like you're entering a church or a temple of academia, really. And they can feel so peaceful to the soul. At least that's how they feel to me. So I would spend hours in the library at this little carol, and of course we attended classes, and then we had lots of studying to do. We could study in our apartments or wherever we were living. I lived in a house with some other roommates, but I felt like it was too noisy there and I could concentrate better in the library, so I would go to the library. And I also was teaching, simultaneously I was teaching freshman English while I was studying for my master's degree. And one day I was standing in a restaurant waiting for a to-go order, and I looked at a bulletin board. The bulletin board had on it many things that pertained to the university. And then I saw there were probably other business cards that related to local businesses. I don't remember any of those. I just saw one business card that intrigued me. And it said on it, Crystal Healings, with the teacher's name. And I picked it up and I thought, what is a crystal healing? It sounded so odd. So many of you might laugh at that, especially if you were listening to this in Los Angeles, where I live, because we have all sorts of different kinds of holistic healing here. So that phrase, crystal healing, is not so strange. But back then, where I was on the East Coast, and also at that time in which yoga wasn't very as popular as it is now, holistic healing, the world of supplements and caring for your body naturally was not so prevalent in mainstream society, really. So the business card was so bizarre to me, and I ended up going to this woman's house and having a healing session with her. And she worked with crystals and Reiki. So I didn't have anything physically amiss with me, but I found that I slept really noticeably well that night. And I just became intrigued with this. I sometimes say in my Reiki classes that when your destiny is calling you, it will enter your life. And sometimes something that's part of your destiny will enter your life several times until you pay attention. So each of us has some sort of general destiny on this earth. The choices of what we do we may be presented with different paths, and the choices are ours, but there is a general tendency, a general destiny our soul may be leaning towards. And so these opportunities come along to wake up the soul in order for us to remember these destinies, because the destinies are going to lead us as souls towards what we need this lifetime. I come from a very academic family. My father is a college professor. My mother is a teacher. My brother is a teacher. My grandmother was a chemist. So for me to suddenly become interested in the healing arts was considered very strange and a little bit, strange, just strange and bizarre, and something that my family could not really understand. But nevertheless, I continued with my English studies and continued and completed my degree, and then I fell into the healing arts, and I learned as much as I could at that time: Reiki, polarity, crystal healing, hypnotherapy, channeling, craniosacral work, different types of healing arts. And then I moved to Los Angeles, and my path took a different turn, equally amazing and part of my destiny, which was I moved into the world of Vedic healing, yoga, mantras, meditation, traveling to India. And for 25 years, I really became very immersed in that. But Reiki stayed with me as a guiding force, and I had moved through the levels of Reiki before moving to Los Angeles. So I became a teacher of Reiki, called a Reiki master. The teaching level of Reiki, you're called a Reiki master. And Reiki stayed with me, and I developed a practice teaching people Reiki and doing Reiki healings. So it's been an incredible and interesting journey in sharing Reiki with many people over the years. And I don't know who's listening to this, if you're new to Reiki or if you already do Reiki, but either way, I want to remind you, or maybe tell you for the first time, 5 ways Reiki can help you based upon my experience. There are other ways too, but I thought of 5 key ways I wanted to express to you today. The first thing is, so Reiki gives you the ability to help others. When you learn Reiki, you become a channel for this energy by going through a class with a teacher and getting initiated into Reiki. And there's a traditional way the energy gets activated in your hands and in your energy field. So as you channel pure light through your hands, you are then given the ability to help others as this energy moves from your hands into the other person's energy field and into their body. Of course, you can do Reiki on personal projects, on yourself, on animals. You can use Reiki to move energies in your life. But if you're using it simply to work with other people, it gives you an incredible ability to help others through the channeling of this light. Many people are attracted to Reiki because they say they want to help others. It's really it's an innate drive we have on the earth to be of service. So Reiki is a very, very accessible way to helping others. It doesn't mean you have to do Reiki for a living, but it will give you this tool that you can use to help others around you with all different conditions: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. The second way Reiki helps us, and again, today is a kind of an introductory podcast on Reiki because I can really elaborate on these topics, but I'm going to just mention them today, and we can go into detail in subsequent episodes. The second way Reiki can help you is it opens you to innate healing abilities. What I mean by that is we all have the ability to channel healing energy. It is innate within us. We have done some sort of healing work in past lives. If you believe in past lives, many, many times I teach people Reiki and they say, this is very familiar to me. I feel like I've done this before. We learn as practitioners to trust the intuition, and that intuitive voice is not something that is encouraged in us. As we grow up, there's such an emphasis put upon the intellect. We need the intellect, of course. The intellect is male energy, and the intuition is feminine energy, is female energy. So we need a balance of both. And Reiki helps us with that balance, by the way. That's not one of the ways here, but I'm just saying that it helps us create balance in the energy field. So there's a bonus way that it helps you. It's going to be way 6, or way 2.5, because we're on number 2. But Reiki opens you up to innate abilities that you have done before, that you know. And in that remembering, you tap into power from past lives, especially as women. We have been, and you can use many different terms for this. We have been healers. We have been witches. We have been high priestesses. We have been energetic healing forces in other lifetimes. And we remember those abilities in doing Reiki. We remember. Maybe you don't remember the exact past lives, but you remember the ability to shift a circumstance through energy, to shift a person's energy field, to shift a person's emotional body or mental body, to help bring light to someone or to a circumstance. So that's the second way Reiki helps us. It causes us really to, I said it opens you to innate healing abilities. Really what it does is it reconnects you with these innate healing abilities. So number 3 is it connects you with Source. And you are the channel, not the doer. So it also, we could say, connects or reconnects you with source energy, with the divine creative force. And we are very aware as practitioners, we are the channels for this energy. So it also works in this way. It works to kind of push down the ego. You are the just the channel. You are the vehicle for this light energy coming through you. The word Reiki means universal life force energy. So we are not transferring our personal energy. We are tapping into a universal source and channeling that energy through the body. It comes in through the crown chakra and is transmitted down the body, down the arms, and out of the hands into another person, into yourself, into an animal, into a personal project. And there are different ways to activate projects in your life. It could go into an inanimate object also. So the fourth way in which Reiki can help you is it puts you, the practitioner, into a state of meditation. Now, this is fantastic because it naturally is a space of meditation when you are giving a healing. In addition, it prepares you, in this space, it prepares you to go deeper into your spiritual practice. When I first learned Reiki, I remember doing healings on friends and my mind moving around, thinking all sorts of things. Oh, I wonder if the music is too loud. I hope the person likes this music. Then I'd think about somebody I had to call. I'd look at the clock. The mind jumps from thoughts to thoughts to thoughts. And then you get these little spaces of no thought, as you do in meditation. And then again, the mind jumps, and again, little spaces of no thought. And the more I did Reiki, the more I found the activity of the mind calming down, just like it does in the practice of meditation or chanting or your yoga asanas. So Reiki is naturally putting you into a state of meditation, which is very, very important. It is so important to still the mind, to gain some sort of mastery over this mind. I've talked about this before when I've talked about mantras. So not letting the mind go willy-nilly all over the place. I remember I used to work on someone. I would give her Reiki, and mostly during a Reiki session, people don't speak. They might talk a little bit, and then they get pretty relaxed. And this woman talked through the session, talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. And it was a very interesting experience for me. I was outside of that talking. It didn't disturb me at all, because the Reiki, as it flowed through me, I remained in a very peaceful space, no matter how much talking she was doing. Now, would she have received a better session had I encouraged her to be quiet? I tried that also. And, it's sometimes we don't know what the person needs, and it's not for us to decide. So in my estimation, the sessions are always deeper if we can be silent. It's just like if you're receiving a massage and you talk the whole time. You don't naturally go as deeply as you could if you stop the talking. So I had different sessions with her, and I experimented with it in different ways. But in the end, as the practitioner, we just allow the person to be. So if that person chooses to talk through the session, That is her personal choice. But what's so remarkable is, as the practitioner, I remained in a very peaceful, Zen-like, deep space. And this is when you feel the effects of your practice. Nothing can disturb you. Even with a kind of incessant conversation. Nothing can disturb that peace. So, did she receive the benefit that she needed? I suppose she got what she needed in the moment. My personal choice is always for people to be silent. But we don't force anything as practitioners. And sometimes it's very confrontive, or confronting, whatever the word is, it's confronting, for somebody who's used to incessant talking, to be still and quiet. And you will observe that in people around you. We're used to activity, we're used to conversation, we're used to noise. So when you access stillness, or you ask somebody else to experience this stillness, if they're not used to that kind of quiet, it can be very alarming to them, because they are confronted with their own silence, with their own beingness. Sometimes people know either being awake and talking or being asleep. But in the middle state, where you are in a deep relaxation, it's in the middle of waking and sleeping, I'd say. For instance, when you're getting a massage, or when you're doing yoga, or when you're doing meditation, or when you're doing Reiki, this is something that can be very surprising to people, and sometimes alarming, to be faced with this stillness. So number 4 was Reiki puts the practitioner into a natural state of meditation, and it prepares you to go deeper into your spiritual practice. I believe that Reiki helped lead me to what is now my consistent daily spiritual practice called sadhana. It was one of the things, it led me. And then the practice deepened through my studying in India and the Vedic healing techniques. Just like Vedic healing, remember, Reiki is not religious in nature. Anyone can learn to do it. I wanted to just say that as an aside. Number 5, the 5th way Reiki can help you is it expands your awareness as you develop psychic and intuitive abilities. So Reiki, I think primarily Reiki works with expanding the heart. You become more loving, expanding your awareness, because it's going to work with your intuition, your third eye. And then it also works with your crown chakra. So it's expanding your connection to the divine. So it will expand your awareness as you develop psychic and intuitive abilities. It will expand your heart, your sensitivity, your kindness, your compassion, your empathy, and it will expand and open your awareness to other realms. So that was kind of 3 factors in the 5th way. It's going to expand your awareness as you develop your psychic and intuitive abilities and your heart chakra and your crown chakra. So remember that Reiki always works. There is no situation in which Reiki doesn't work. And we'll talk about this in other podcasts, what that means for Reiki to work. It always helps. It always creates healing. There's a difference between healing and curing, and we'll talk about that too. But I believe that anyone interested in the healing arts, in self-development, in spirituality, should learn Reiki. But as with anything, it becomes strong and effective when we do it, when we put our efforts into it. When I say efforts are not of any kind of forceful nature. There is no force on the spiritual path. We don't force anyone to do anything. It is a soft energy, always, a loving and sensitive energy on this path. But putting your effort into it means doing it, applying it. Just like Vedic healing will deepen as we progress, so does Reiki. Your meditation and your sadhana, your daily spiritual practice, will enhance your Reiki. Reiki can become enhanced with other techniques also that you may learn. The healing session becomes a creative process. Just like your daily practice, your daily sadhana is creative unto you. The healing that you give to someone, a Reiki healing you give to someone, will be different from a Reiki healing someone else gives. Because you're 2 different people, and because also you pull into the session not only your unique energies, but whatever else you want to bring to the session. So we can add toning, chanting, the crystal bowls, which are really quite amazing. The singing bowls, they can be crystal or the metal ones also. You can add other modalities. You make the session unique unto you, and you take your cues from where? Always. You take them from inside. You learn with a teacher, and you learn by interacting with other practitioners, but your cues as to how to do your Reiki session come from the internal guidance. And that guidance can only get strong as you work on yourself through spiritual self-development. So this Reiki is a beautiful science. It's an art, it's a technique, it's a healing energy, it's a tool. It's a tool for expansion, for growth. It's a technique. Remember always, it's a technique. It's a hands-on healing technique and method, but it's also an energy. And the energy creates change in your field. It opens things up. It opens up awareness in you, the practitioner. And of course, it will open up awareness in the recipient of healing as well. So I hope this has helped a little bit. And I love talking about Reiki, as I do love talking about all the other techniques that we discuss in these podcasts. I really urge you to do Reiki, learn Reiki, receive Reiki, move through the levels of Reiki. I would say the greatest growth came to me after I became a Reiki master. Each level is unique, but as you go through the levels of anything you're learning, and then you apply everything you've been taught, that's where you really start to reap the benefits. I'm thinking about when I studied in India and all the different times studying with Guruji there and amassing information. So that's where you're taking in information and techniques from the teacher. And that's all good and important, but it's only important if you apply what you've learned. So it's in the application that a great deal of growth takes place. Not that you're not growing when you're studying, but as you apply what you've learned in the world, then the true growth comes. So I enjoyed very much all of my experiences in India, and I studied in a method. It's an ancient method, the Gurukul system, where you study intimately with the teacher. So one-on-one, or in small groups, but you have a very close relationship with the teacher. And it was the same for me with my Reiki master. So when you have that kind of experience, you absorb so much. And then it's up to you to put it into practice. The guru or the teacher gives and gives and gives and gives and gives, because that's his or her responsibility to be of service to the people who are interested in what the person that knows. So we give and we give and we give and we give and we give. And then as the student, when we're the student, we receive, but we have to put into practice what we've learned. So the learning never stops. And if you have access to a teacher for anything, don't stop learning, because for two reasons. One is the teacher has the benefit of the years of experience. So that's just a natural thing. The teacher is experienced. So you want to learn with someone who is experienced, because you're getting the value of all the years and if it's Reiki, all the Reiki sessions the teacher's done, all the classes the teacher's done. And so the things that come out of the teacher's mouth when he or she is speaking will be coming from a space of knowing. It's not, and you know this also when, if you've ever taught anything, the first time you teach, you feel nervous because it's not flowing yet naturally from you, because now you're doing something different. Now you have to convey the knowledge to someone. And so as you gain experience, then it starts, the energy starts flowing from you very naturally. So, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. So I was just saying, what I wanted to say is study with that teacher over and over and over again. So when I went to India, I would sit with Guruji, and the time was never enough. Because what happens is, when you're interested in a topic, that teacher is a wealth of information, and you can't get enough of the information. So you listen and you listen and you listen because you're very interested in the topic. But one day that teacher is gone. And when the teacher leaves, it's very sad. It's very sad because you miss that connection. But remember, the connection also never goes anywhere. You don't have the same benefit of interacting with the teacher where you could call the teacher on the phone, or you could laugh with the teacher, or you could share experiences with the teacher, but you have still the connection. And this is where the metaphysical principles of Reiki and all the healing arts come in, because although I said Reiki is not religious in nature, but it is spiritual in nature. So the Reiki connects us forever, all of us. Anyone you have taught or you have touched with Reiki, if you're a Reiki master listening to this, you are connected to that person. You helped that person at one time or another. So you always have that connection. But my advice is just to be, if you're interested in these topics, to consume them almost with greed. It's not really the right word, but I was like that with Guruji. I was like that with my Reiki master, Roxanne. I was so interested in what I was learning, so I wanted to pull as much knowledge as I could from the teacher. And I urge you to explore Reiki, to do Reiki, to learn Reiki, to give Reiki, to teach Reiki, to move through the levels of Reiki. There's some reason you were attracted to it. So we live in a world in which everything is very fast, and the spiritual path is not fast. The development that occurs as a soul when we're working with these techniques, certainly it starts immediately from when we become involved with these techniques, whatever it is, yoga, meditation, chanting, Reiki, whatever you're interested in, it starts immediately. But the development is naturally slow. And there's nothing you can do to accelerate the pace, and there is no need to accelerate the pace. So just accept where you are and keep moving forward. It's not to say you won't have extraordinary experiences, because you will, and it's really fun, and it's all part of this journey of self-awareness through spiritual self-development. So you will have wonderful experiences that are really amazing, and we need those in order to validate what we're doing. When I first started working with different gurus in India, sometimes, like for instance, Sri Satya Sai Baba would come to me in dreams. And when you are connected to a guru at a heart level, I mean, you're really connected and you're really interested in that teacher, when the guru appears in your dream, it is not like a dream. It's a very distinct visitation, and it's very profound and remarkable and memorable. I had a dream. I've had many dreams and interactions with Sai Baba in person and also in dream state. But I had a dream. I would write them down. I had a dream, I think it was, I have to look it up, but it was more than 20 years ago. And I wrote it all down. Maybe it was 25 years ago. I have the date. The reason I know is I put the date at the top of the writing, and I wrote the dream. And what I wrote in that dream came true in my life just about a couple years ago. I didn't remember the dream. I happened to pull out the paper because I kept my dreams written down and I filed them in a manila folder. So I was going through papers and I pulled this out and I read the dream, and it described some things that happened to me at a remarkable time in my life just a couple years ago. So this is the effect, the reason I tell you that, this is the effect of the connection with the teacher. The teacher is always watching you and guiding you. And these very, very evolved beings who may be your teachers, and like Sai Baba as a guru, he's considered an avatar, an enlightened master. These are very incredible experiences we have that almost can't be put into words, but he is watching. He's watching me. I'm forever connected. And so the experiences are real and tangible in that I have in the dream state. As practitioners, as spiritual practitioners, we come to expect the dreams that are significant to be, we come to regard them, specific dreams as being conveyors of messages. And so sometimes when I teach Reiki to people, I've had this happen several times where somebody in class will say, I feel so relieved that I can talk about such things here. I didn't know there was a place I could speak about these things, whether it's whatever we're talking about, dreams or signs from the universe or messages from God or numerology or any kind of metaphysical topics. And by the way, metaphysical, I'm just going to translate this. Meta means beyond the physical plane. So that's what metaphysical means. And things that are beyond the physical plane that we can't touch. Experiences, dreams, messages, clairvoyance, where you see visions or you see energies, clairaudience, you might hear a message, things like this. So the people have said they're so relieved they can speak about such things. And I tell them that these things are normal. You just haven't been hanging around the right tribe, the right people. So when you are interested in spiritual self-development, it's very important to find your tribe. Find other people who are interested in such things. Because if you put yourself into very traditional spaces in society where meditation is considered strange, or people laugh at yoga, or I don't know, I'm just making these things up, but maybe I'm being a little melodramatic. But if you put yourself in, if you find yourself in such circles and you feel odd, remember also your role in that circle might be to help people open their awareness a little bit to these other topics. But put yourself around the right tribe also for support. So I'm not saying you can't interact in a more traditional setting, but also make sure you derive support from like-minded individuals. This is important with anything, really. I've said this before, Srila Prabhupada of the Hare Krishna movement used to say that it was important for devotees of Krishna to be around other devotees. Why? Because they have a common purpose, they have a common goal, a common interest, and a common way to achieve the goal. Their goal is to transcend this earth and this earthly experience so that they don't have to come back and keep reincarnating. These are the ISKCON devotees. So the way they get there is through the chanting of that mantra. Many ways to get there in all different traditions and many belief systems. So the point is to get there, to evolve as a soul and not have to keep coming and experiencing this world. It is beautiful here, but it is also fraught with pain and suffering. So why not move on as a soul and remain in the non-physical space where you can exist in a blissful experience, in a blissful space, and still help, and still the journey, from my understanding, never ends. We just keep evolving at higher levels. So I hope this has been food for thought. I was supposed to be talking about Reiki, and I did, but often I go on to other side tangents because the Reiki, as I said, it led me to my spiritual path and to spiritual self-development. And that eventually was through the teachings from India, through yoga, Vedic healing, meditation, chanting, pranayama, and that brilliant science that I love so dearly. The Reiki is a guide for me, and it has stayed with me as a guiding force and a tool that I always have in my hands. I've had experiences where there were emergencies in front of me. Somebody got hurt, or somebody had a seizure, or a cat of mine passed away. A few different cats actually, but two I was thinking of in particular. And at the time of their death, I was able to rub my hands together, have the kitty cat on my lap, give Reiki, and chant as the kitty left his or her body. And my intention in the moment was to be of service to that being and help the being transition. May we all be that lucky to move through our final breaths with ease, with somebody over us or near us saying, I intend light for you. I intend a smooth and easy transition, and I'm here holding the space for you as you leave. Whenever anyone, I've also been with at least one friend who passed away, and I was doing Reiki on him as he left his body. So the last thing I want to say is that if you ever have that experience of being able to give someone Reiki in their final breaths, you are doing a great service, because you are holding the space for that being to leave easily. Whenever anyone leaves, we cry, of course. We feel pain, extraordinary pain. It's awful. We feel this pain that being is no longer going to be in the space with us, in the physical space. But there's, I heard a Swami say once that we have things all wrong. When we are born, everybody rejoices and says, oh, a baby, look how cute. And when we die, we cry. But he said it should be the other way around. When someone is born, we should say, ugh, how sad. They've come to the earth and they have no idea what they're in for. This is a tragedy. This poor soul has come back here again. And when we leave, there should be rejoicing. Yay, she's going back to spirit. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about pain and pleasure. And I'm not going to get into that in detail here, but basically urges us to know that where there has been great pleasure, one day there will be pain. So we're always aware of that. And the only thing that provides real pleasure is the connection with the light, with the divine. And so this is why we can enjoy things on the earth. Nothing wrong with that. But we're always aware that the deep, abiding, real pleasure will be in the connection with spirit. And we experience that pleasure in the form of tremendous bliss when we do our practices. And Reiki is one of them. When we're giving Reiki, we move into a space of stillness where we connect with divinity and we feel blissful. We find that in yoga asanas, in the practice of yoga in a comprehensive way, in meditation, in chanting, and that feeling of bliss becomes addictive and we want more. So this is why we do a daily spiritual practice, and we do all of these techniques to remember and tap into that core essence of whom we are. The goal is always to access light. It's that light within that is a spark of divinity. Each of us is a spark of divinity, so that light within is what we're trying to cultivate. We cultivate it through Reiki. We cultivate it through meditation. We cultivate that light through yoga. We cultivate it through chanting. So cultivate more of it. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
ハリーオー。
Om Sai Ram, Om Amriteshwariye Namaha, Jai Guruji, Hare Krishna, Om Namah Shivaya. I hope you've enjoyed this. Remember to please reach out to me. Let me know what you would like to hear in these podcasts. Somebody has asked me to speak about feng shui, which I will, but each of these topics has lots and lots of elements. So if there's anything on your path that you're struggling with, please also text me if you have my number, or on the website, email me and let me know. This is what I'm doing in my practice, and this is what I'm struggling with. Do you have any ideas? And surely if I do, I'll be happy to address them. I really want to know that these podcasts are of value. This is the culmination of my life's work to bring forth this information in the form of the podcasts, and also, of course, in the classes and events that we offer through the American Reiki Academy and the Vedic Healing Center. So please reach out. The website is reikiacademy.org. And have a wonderful night or day. Be happy, be peaceful, do your practice, and do more of it. And you will find that it brings you the greatest bliss you have ever experienced. And in that state of bliss, and this is the last thing I'll say, I know this was a little long, in that state of bliss, what do you do with that energy? That state of bliss helps you magnetize to you all sorts of blessings. In a state of having all these blessings come to you, then you naturally become more effective in your own life and as a practitioner, here to help, serve, and share with other people. So cultivate that light through all of these techniques, and you will tap into this great joy, this great bliss. There's no doubt about it. Others have gone before us. My Guruji, let me just say, when he left his body, he was in his 80s, and he was a wealth of information, a extraordinary reservoir of energy, incredible energy. We used to say he has more energy than we do. And the energy came from the doing of the practice. And now I understand that because I have experienced it myself. So that is my message to everyone, really, is to do your practice and do more of it. And you will prove to yourself that the generating of this light is going to create magic in your life. And now I will leave you until the next podcast. Be well, be happy, be peaceful, and cultivate your light so that you can share it with others and make the world more peaceful, more happy, more blissful. We all need that. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.